with the broader group here. So I want to, without further ado, we're going to get out of the way and let the real stars take center stage here. So want to introduce Teresa and Ricardo, who are teachers at Hacienda La Puente School District. And I really think they're just going to share some best use cases and best practices that they're going to help many users out there today. So thanks so much.
Well, I don't know about the real stars, but thank you for that wonderful introduction. So again, to introduce ourselves, my name is Teresa Castro.
And I am Ricardo Recinos.
And we are both technology teachers on special assignment from Hacienda La Puente Unified. I see a lot of neighbors here in our chat. So happy to have you here today. So our session today is called Inform Me, Don't Annoy Me. And so that's a big thing, right? We want to get our communication out, but we don't want to annoy the people we're trying to communicate with. And don't feel like you have to take screenshots or write everything down. We're going to go ahead and share this with you. Ricardo, do you want to bring them into that?
I sent the link on the chat.
Okay, so the link is on the chat. So if you want to follow along with us, or if you just want to keep it for a reference for later, you can also use your QR code as well and join us as we do our presentation. So let's go ahead and get started.
So you might ask, why did we decide to call it Inform Me, Don't Annoy Me? And I wanted to ask Teresa a question. I know your daughter now has ParentSquare, but before that, how did her district and her teacher communicate with you?
Well, every year it was a little bit different. I think we had class dojo. We had so many things, and you could just imagine those parents who have more than one student having to juggle all these things. But we're getting ahead of ourselves as usual.
No, but I just wanted to start with that because for me, my daughter's district now does have ParentSquare, but I remember before that I was getting mailers, I was getting text messages, I was getting email messages, and I just decided to tune it out. I just decided, you know what, I'm not going to pay attention to it, and sometimes I will miss very important information because of it.
Absolutely. And we put right here, reaching the last 10% of our families. So that's definitely our goal. We want to make sure we do that. But before,
good point, Teresa. No, you're right. You know, our district was before the pandemic, and during the pandemic, our district was really struggling to engage the 100% of our parents, especially the hardest to reach, what we call the persistent 10%. And honestly, I believe the ParentSquare is the reason that we now are reaching almost all of our parents. And you'll see that in some of the data numbers that we're going to show you.
All right. So before we get started, we always want to make sure we're grounded in our why. Why are we doing this? Other than that, it's a super awesome tool. So why is it important to have communication with parents and family? So why are you here? Why did you choose to attend? So we're going to go ahead and put the link to this poll EV down in our chat. So go ahead and join us and give us your answers. We see some, you guys are so fast. We see some coming in already. So let's go ahead and share our reason why it's so important to have communication with parents and families. Okay, so we're going to maybe take a few seconds to go ahead and do that. All right, I see some coming in already here. Two-way communication, definitely, not just us talking at our families, right? Clear expectations, time saving. Yes, please. Share information in two-way, definitely. Community engagement, that's so important. Support student success, definitely. You're reading my mind right now. Keep them coming, and we'll definitely, we love to come back to this and see everyone's responses, but we won't spend too much time, so we make sure to cover everything we need to today. So I see SEL there too. That's gonna come back to us. All right, so what is our why? The purpose. Family involvement is one of the strongest predictors of children's success. And I think that really relates to something that someone had put in the poll. And I think that's very true, right? And how are we going to do that today? We're going to discover the importance of engaging families in the community, and we're going to learn strategies for two-way communication between all stakeholders, not just the kids. We're talking about everybody here.
Yeah, there was a great session right before this one, and they had a research that showed that obviously parent involvement is crucial, right? Regardless of family income, background, language, students with involved parents and families are likely to have higher grades, better attendance, better social skills, and so on and so on.
Absolutely.
Can we go to the next one?
Yes, please. So our expected outcomes today, just so you know what we're going to cover today, our objectives are to learn how to utilize ParentSquare from a teacher's perspective to increase communication. So many tools that we'll be sharing today, to tailor ParentSquare to meet your class needs, explore tips and tricks to make things work seamlessly. And as always, our non-objectives, we do not expect anyone to become ParentSquare pros. We might have some pros in here. They'll be answering your questions in the chat. If you have any, please feel free to put them. They'll answer them. And if not, we'll make sure to come back to them at the end. Do not expect to throw out everything you've been doing. We've been doing amazing things. Keep it up and do not feel limited to what is shared today. All right, so one more thing before we get to our topic. We have our Padlet here, which we love to come back to. Ricardo's going to go ahead and put that in the chat as well. I just saw him put it on. So we can go ahead and participate with this, and we'd love to come back to it if we have time later. So any aha moments, things you learned and would like to try. It's so great to see what people would like to try. It kind of encourages us to get courageous in there, right? Any questions you have, we did say you could put it inside the chat, but if you would like to put them here, we'd love to come back to them as well. So see some people already put some questions there, and we answered those live last time. Oh, yes.
2 seconds. I'm so sorry. If you're posting something to the whole group, will you make sure that you click everyone? Otherwise, it just goes to the panelists and the host. So we want to make sure that everyone can participate. So I should have warned you guys about that before.
Thank you so much. We'll go ahead and I think Mr. Ricinos is helping with that. We'll go ahead and make sure
It should be there now.
He's got it. Thank you. Please interrupt us at any time. We're totally fine with that. Suggestions and resources. Our presentation is here as well, but if you have resources, we know we might have experts in here. Please feel free to share. We love to see other people's material. So please feel free.
So if you didn't get the link to the presentation, it is available for you here too.
He's just going to put all those in, and just know you might see those links come in every once in a while as we present, just because we have people coming in and we don't want them to miss it. Okay. So in our district, we started with ParentSquare, and a big thing we were trying to push really was a need for SEL. And we know that was a big need, especially because we were out for the, when the pandemic came around and distance learning and everything, we needed a way to communicate with our parents. So that's where it grounded for us in the beginning, communicating with our kids, and from there to their families, and from there to the whole entire community. So we're not going to talk about all these things. We have full trainings on that, but we're going to just focus on the second one, which is establish avenues for two-way communication with families about SEL. So we're going to talk about everything here, not just SEL, but that is how we started on our journey. And
I think that the ParentSquare was a key for us when it came to positive messages. We'll show you how to do that later, and also creating those meaningful connections with our students and parents. That was huge, I think.
Absolutely. And so 5 barriers to engagement through communications. It's very important to address what barriers we have so that we know what tools we need to address to overcome those, definitely. So let's go on. So information overload, this is me. 20%, the percentage of Americans who feel overloaded by information. I'm definitely part of that. My email has thousands of emails in there, and I start to just not look at all of them because there's just too much, right, Ricardo?
Yeah, and I can tell you a personal experience as a Spanish teacher in high school. My main form of communication was Remind. I was using that, and I thought I was being effective until I found out that some of my students, their siblings were in elementary, and that teacher was using Class Dojo, I think, and then our district was using Peach Jar, I think it's called. So we just had information overload coming from everywhere for our parents, and it just became very confusing. So we had to find a way that we can engage them and be consistent. And
streamlined, definitely. Mm-hmm. Okay, language and cultural. This is big for our district. 19.4%. The percentage of English language learners in California alone. ELLs are widespread in the US.
Yeah, and just to give an example for our district, we have 3,152 ELL students. And how do we create that equitable communication for our students? How do we support translation? And I think ParentSquare, you'll see it in a second live, how it's just changed the way we do things.
Absolutely. And that's such a struggle for teachers as well. We want to be able to reach out to all the different parents from who speak different languages. And it's always hard to find someone to help us translate. And you'll see how easy it is here. All right, non-tech literate families and low bandwidth devices. This is a big eye opener for us, especially during distance learning. 43%, about 4 in 10 adults with low income don't have home broadband.
Yeah, and obviously the pandemic widened the digital divide. And I think because of the pandemic, a positive is that now, a lot of our districts, I know our district provided hotspots and provided devices for our students. So now we have this great opportunity to reach and to be able to communicate with them. So that's a positive that came out of it. So now with ParentSquare, we're able to do that.
Our inaccurate contact info. I'm sure you've experienced this before. 40 million, the average number of Americans who move each year. We have that high level of transiency in our district too as well. So we have to deal with that.
So in our district, obviously, right, keeping the parent contact information current, it's an ongoing challenge. But I think for us, that consistency that we have between our SIS and ParentSquare has been key to be able to communicate with our parents.
Absolutely. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. All right. Okay. Families facing non-school related challenges. And again, this one was a big one that we realized during distance learning, 10 million. The number of children who have a family member who is unemployed or lacks paid work due to the pandemic, and so many other issues that we weren't aware of until it was brought to light during that time.
Yeah, we discovered our older students, right, taking care of their younger siblings, while parents were at work during our Zoom meetings, right? Or maybe those students having to work themselves to support their families and other circumstances such as, maybe family issues, divorce, etc., etc. So they all play a big role. But, we're very happy when it comes to the way we have been able to implement ParentSquare at our district. So this is our second year. We started just with our district using it. And in the second year, our teachers were able to go in there. And we're just so proud about this number right here, 96% contactable parents. It's not 100%. We talked about the persistent 10%, but just think about it. We only have to reach 639 families to get to 100%. So this wasn't possible before when we were using different apps and multiple, ways of communication. This has allowed us to get to this 96%.
And I think this graphic is old, Ricardo. I think we have reached even more at this point since doing this. So we're very proud that we can
yes.
declare that.
And, as we talk about streamlining everything, how it's become for us with ParentSquare. So we have the mass communication, by a district level. We're going to focus today on classroom communication, right? School services. And it's great to see as a coach being able to send a form to my students or to the parents just makes it easier. And just that one unified platform that we're using. So just makes it easier for us as a district and as teachers in the classroom. And then finally, we were lucky enough to read the new study that just came out in the webinar that happened before. And it was so interesting to see how, we had 72 administrators and teachers that were actually surveyed, and seeing that email is the most popular according to them. But we see that texting is also very, very used frequent, not as much, but very, very effective. So this is something that we've discovered, noticing that paper is not being used as much as before, right? And how that mobile app, the use of it is skyrocketing, and the idea of that two-way communication is huge. And this is what we love about ParentSquare right here.
Yeah, and I think I love how parents can choose how they want to receive the communication. They don't have to use email or have to use text. They choose what works for them.
And from the other side, from the teacher, right? I'm using ParentSquare, and it doesn't matter if that's the parent picks an email or the other parent picks an app or the other one picks a text message. Yes. It is all the same for me as I'm using ParentSquare. So as we go in, we're going to actually go into the platform now. And we want to show you some of the tips that we've learned with our time with ParentSquare, how to send positive messages. We talk about sell and we talk about the pandemic. So we'll show you how to do that, how to set up things that work for you. There's some settings that you might not be aware of, how to set up class calendars or group calendars. I was blown away with the fact that I can actually integrate this with one of my LMSs. How to ensure that your newsletter will be read by those parents and that you're sending it to. How to post pictures directly from phones. I love that my daughter's teacher is able to send those pictures, of her working. I usually ask my daughter, how did it go? She's like, oh, it was good. What did you do? Oh, nothing, right? So I get to see her doing stuff. And then finally, how you can use groups inside of ParentSquare for different projects or for communication. So we'll spend some time with that. So I think after all of that, Teresa, we're going to actually get into the platform. Is that correct?
Yep, let's go. Let's get down to business.
So let's go ahead and get there right now. So our district, we're lucky to have class link as our launchpad. So one of the great things about ParentSquare is that it allows for single sign-on, okay? So we've added it to our launchpad. So the moment that our teachers come in here, they can just click on it and it automatically logs them in without having to put in a username or a password in here. So basically, they just click and it goes on. Today, because we want to protect our student data, we're actually going to use a sandbox. But once our teachers just click here, it's going to take them inside of ParentSquare. So the great thing about ParentSquare is that I can be a teacher. And if I have a student, my daughter that uses also ParentSquare, her district, I will be able to see my daughter's school here and be able to act as a parent in here too. Okay, so we're gonna go through some of the best practices that we like to go in that we like to use. So I'm gonna go to the right. So obviously I can search for posts here. So if I put keywords, I'm able to look for something that I maybe wrote at the beginning of the year. Makes it easy. Okay, if I wanted to change it to a different language, to Spanish for me, I could change it right here. Over here, I have reminders, right? If I love ParentSquare, and I do, I can give them some love right here. If I have any questions right here. But what I wanted to show you as a teacher is that over here under profile, okay, I can go and click on my account, okay? And what I love is that when I go in here, I can go and edit my account if I go to the left over here, okay? And something that I like to do is I want to make sure that the parents and the students know who I am. So I actually come in here and I can upload a picture if I wanted to, just by clicking on it, right? And I can come in and find a file from here. So if I went to my drive, I can just go ahead and grab it. If I went to my device, I can just go and grab that picture. So let me just go in there. So I'll just bring it here. Let me just bring it in. So here we go. So I can just upload a picture. I remember at the beginning of the year with the pandemic, I actually added a picture of my whole family with me in here to create that communication and to create, that relationship with my students, right? I can add a little bit about me. I have something that I already wrote inside of my canvas in here. So I can come in here just to show you and just take something. So my students get to know a little bit about me. It makes that connection, that personal connection. So I can come in here and just take it and then go ahead and put it in there. And now save. And now my students, before even coming into my classroom, and those teachers have an idea of who I am. So that's something that we recommend our teachers to do, to spend some time with their profile in here, okay? Something that also we talk about is notification settings, okay? How I want my notifications to happen, right? Do I want to have them instant or digest for some of the stuff through email? So I can select that as a parent and also as a teacher. So that's something that you have in here. Something that I love is those office hours. I train my students and my parents to know that I'm going to actually answer you back if I enable this office hours and I say, from 7 a.m. And I know Teresa always thinks it's so early to 4 p.m. If you send me something, I'm going to answer. But this also teaches my parents to respect that time when I don't have my office hours on. So this is something that I've learned to use a lot, and I've been able to train my parents and students to be able to respect my time when I'm not actually using it.
They can ask you. They might just
right.
not get an
They can
answer.
send you those messages. They know they're not gonna get an answer from me. So just under the profile, just some things that you can do to change the way things look and the way things work for you. Okay. As we go back, there's a lot of different things you can do with ParentSquare. We're gonna start with the most useful, I think, with new posts, and I think Teresa is going to share her screen for that.
Okay, perfect. So if you can stop sharing, perfect. Thank you. I'm gonna go ahead. Ricardo, do you see my screen?
I do.
Okay, perfect. All right. So everyone, we are going to be talking about making a new post, and we train our teachers on this. We usually spend quite a bit of time on it, but we're going to go through it fairly quickly today just to show you some of the options that you have and some amazing things that we didn't know about and teachers didn't know about either. So we'll just start here in the middle right here. So you can choose one person, you can choose a period, one class, you can choose everybody. You can even create little groups, which Ricardo will show you in a little bit. So I just created a little group so not everyone under the sun gets this message, and you can check off who you want to see it. Is this for staff, parents? Are they for students? You have more options here. So you can decide who you want to see this, and then your subject as well. I'm just gonna call it test because we're testing it today just for our training. And then we're going to go ahead and go across the toolbar here. And I know that most of us know what these mean, but we never want to assume. So we're just going to go through this right here. So I'm just going to type in a word. And then we can, just like our normal adjustments, we can bold, we can italicize, we can underline. More text features here you can strike through if you want. I just turned it off. And then different font sizes, different colors. I know teachers love to get creative in here. So Let me highlight that again. You could check a different background. There you go. Lots of different things. Okay. And your alignment as usual, your left, right, middle, whatever works for you. Okay. You can increase your indent. You also have your ordered list, lots of different ways to order your list. And your unordered list as well, your circles, your discs, and all of those things. And so I'm going so fast. Your emoticons as well. We love these, right? So we can put a fun one in there. And if you want to insert images, you can simply get one from your computer. Or if you have a link, if it's a actual image that you're allowed to use, you could put the link in here and it will bring that image in for you. You can also insert a video as well if you have the URL for the video. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that just because we show that to teachers and we're like, that's great. But let me just show you something even more awesome. So right here in the middle, this plus sign, it's called More Rich. If you click on that, if you've never used this before, oh my goodness, your mind is going to be blown. So we start simple. You can insert a link. You can insert tables. Ricardo knows I love my tables. You can use a template. This is a fun one. So I'm going to click on that and just show you what it is. You have some choices here. I'm going to click on the one that's called 5-Minute Friday, just so you can see what it does. So I'm going to click on that and look at this. What is a 5-Minute Friday letter? It's something that you can make in 5 minutes. You could talk about, here are a few things we learned this week. Here are some things we'll be learning next week. You know, for teachers, this is really simple. It's a template. It's already made. You can add any other information in here if you want. I know, you know, as a parent, sometimes I ask my daughter what she learned and she's like, I don't know, but it would be great to hear from the teacher what they've been covering, right? So there's that. Let me go ahead and undo. This is one of my favorite buttons here. You can Control Z or undo, as we all love to do at times. Here's one of my favorite ones, newsletter bordered. So I love to make things on Word or on Docs, but I have to format them manually if I'm not using a template. But look at these templates. I could simply go in here and change the picture. I could change the words. I know they're not in English. Don't worry. You could type over that as soon as you delete it. Okay, so those are lots of great templates. We're not going to go through all of those. Here is something that the teachers use most. Look at all these options that you have to customize your newsletter or whatever communication is going out. You can add a header. You can go down here. You could do image, 3 columns, image, text, image to the left. So watch what happens. It looks so professional. And you could just go through and take all these tools and go ahead and make adjustments. So I'm just going to show you how to do one very simply. So here's a picture here. I could delete that and add a picture from the toolbar, like what I showed earlier, or I could simply click on it and you can see right here, it says replace. So I'm just going to click on replace. And I'm not going to use that. I'm going to upload. Just going to pick something. How about this one? And there it is. And you could resize it as you see fit. You can change your information here. I love the topic of kindness. So we could do that. You could change your heading. Welcome, any of those things. So lots of options that we can do here. Okay, so I'm not going to go through all of those, but as soon as the teachers get in here, they love to play. So they'll play around. And the great thing is if you have it set just the way you like, you could reuse this later. You don't have to redo it over and over and over, which we love. Okay, so since I'm already in this middle part, down at the bottom, there's a button that also says edit translation. So if you are providing translations for those parents who might choose a different language to see your correspondence, then you have the option to edit it as well, because maybe the translation isn't as accurate as you want. Maybe there's something you want to adjust. You can do that. You can click edit translation, you can choose your language, and you can edit that as well. Just know you have the ability to do that. Okay. All right. So my favorite part, I know I rushed through that because I wanted to save it for my favorite. My favorite part is over here on the left, post add-ons. Now, these are a big one because when our teachers, some of them were apprehensive to use this because they already had so many other tools that they loved. But once they saw these tools, for the most part, they were sold. Okay. So let me go ahead and show you some of them. Calendar entry. So if you click on that, you simply choose, you know, maybe it's an event. Maybe my daughter's having open house this Thursday. So maybe I'll just pretend that's one of them. So 6 p.m., not in the morning. Okay, here we go. And you can, it's up to you. You can have it an event that repeats. You can send a reminder. You can request RSVP. If you have to know how many people are coming, you can do that and they can respond. I don't need to worry about that. Let me see. All right, so let me go ahead and I'm going to move on to the next one. attach photos or files. Right here. So you might wonder, why do I need to attach a photo when I can just put a photo in the actual post? Why would I actually need to make an attachment? And we were wondering the same thing, but we discovered something. Ricardo, you want to share what we discovered?
You know, like I was saying, my daughter's teacher sends pictures all the time, and then by attaching, I have the ability to save them to my phone. If I put it inside of the newsletter, sometimes it's a lot harder to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were trying to, in the newsletter, you can, take the pictures, but it's harder to do. And when it's attached to it, parents can simply just download it. Because for me, when I see pictures of my daughter attached, I love to download them and save them for myself. So this makes it easier for them. So you can get it from your drive, your photos, you can share a link again, or you could just upload it from your device. So that is why I'll just, pick one here. Here's a great one. So I'll use that one, and I'll just upload that for the sake of our exercise today. And there you go. It's right there. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead. I can put a caption if I want to explain to them what it is. Lots of options there. Okay. So my next one, and this might be my favorite, almost my favorite. You hear me say that a lot. So forms, these are very important for us. When do I need the form completed by? I'm going to say at the end of the week. It's not usually the case, right? We want to give them more time. We can select an existing form, which I'm going to come back to because I love it so much. I'm going to talk about first creating a new form, and it's pretty easy. You would click on create a new form, and it shows you options down here. Do you want it to require a signature? Do you want it to have attachments? Do you require student information? So we can actually ask a question. Let's see. Is your child permitted to attend the ice cream social? If I spell anything wrong, I'm so sorry. And so there's different options that you could put here. Short answer, they can answer in a paragraph, they can select one, select many, or it could be a date. So I'm just going to say select one because it's a yes or no question. I put required yes because that's the whole point of me sending it. You can say no if you want. And then you put your options here. So yes, no, I'll think about it. I don't know. It depends if they did their chores that week. Okay. So once you do that, then it appears for them. Okay. So that was the way to do it manually. You can add as many questions as you wish, but watch this. Select an existing form. So if your site uses uniform forms or your district, you could simply go to select an existing form. So you're going to click on that. And then I love the search feature. So a big one we use every year is media release parental consent. You could simply choose that and it will do a media release form for them. That's it. You're done. But my favorite one, which I always use, I'm going to use, oops, it would be nice if I spelled it correctly.
Think about consistency, right? Everybody using the same forms.
Yeah, definitely. In our district, we use the same one. So, why would I make it from scratch, right? So here it is, permission slip for a field trip to parents. I click on that and that's it. And you'll see, I'm going to show you in the preview in a moment what that looks like for the parents. And I didn't have to do anything else. That took like 2 seconds. Okay, here's another one that teachers were unaware of. And so were we. And we were like, whoa, that's so cool. So ask for items. So when do you need it by? I'll say the end of the week. What item do I need? So as teachers, what are things that we need, especially right now? Oh my goodness, sanitizer, ongoing, right? What's the quantity you need? Maybe 10. We can add another item, Clorox wipes. Maybe I need one for each table. You can do as many as you want. Okay. And you can add another day as well if you're asking for more things to be sent in another day. So your parents can volunteer to bring these things right here through ParentSquare, which is awesome. Here's another one, our last one, request volunteers. So when do you want people to sign up? Maybe I want them to sign up tomorrow. Okay. What do you want people to do? So maybe I want them to join us for our field trip. So let's say we're leaving at 9 or coming back not at 9. We're coming back maybe 2. I know the numbers are so finicky here, but it works. Not in the morning. PM, there you go. And maybe I need 5 chaperones to come with us. Okay, so they could sign up for that. So that has a time. We can also add a task that doesn't have a time frame. Maybe it's something I need them to do, but they don't necessarily have to be there. So here's one, make care bags for us to bring on our field trip, which in essence is just a bag full of sanitizers and stuff like that. Make care bags. And I don't care about the time. I just need them to be turned in by the field trip, and I need 10 of them. Okay, so that's easy. You can repeat, you can add another day if you want, just like before. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and move up to the top. I'm almost done, everybody, I promise. Okay, so at the very top right, here we are at the very end, send at user preferred time. So as parents, or as those who are receiving this communication, they get to choose, do I want it as soon as the teacher sends it, or are there a certain time of day where I want to get this information, get notified for this information? Okay, so I can send it to them and then the parents will get it when they want. Okay, I could also send it instantly so they get it right away. And I could also choose to not notify them, meaning they have to go on to actual ParentSquare to see it, and they can just choose to see it when they choose. Okay, so I like to do it right here. You have some options here, which teachers love. You can post it right now. You could schedule it for later. We know we have a lot of teachers who maybe work on these things maybe 1 or 2 days a week, and they want to create it, but they don't want to send it out right away. So they can schedule. You can also save the draft. If I'm working on this right now, it'll automatically save as draft and I can preview it. So I'm going to go ahead and just preview that right now so you can see what this looks like. Let's just pretend it looks amazing. I know I didn't add much to it, but you could see I added my picture here. Here's the field trip permission slip I was talking about that I didn't have to make. It would already be associated with your student right here. Look at this, allergies, guardian's name, electronic signature. That was all created for me and I didn't have to do anything. The parents right here could sign up to bring sanitizer. They can sign up to join for a field trip. It's so easy. It's so easy for them to do. So I'm going to hide that. Almost done. I'm going to go ahead and post this now so you can see some options that appear for me once I post something. And here I am. So I posted this amazing, amazing newsletter in the wrong.
And I know there was a question before how you could reuse it. You can actually see it to the right where it says duplicate right there. So you'll be able to duplicate. Yeah.
Here we are. So here I am in the post, and I can appreciate my own post, I guess. The great thing is that you can look at comments too. So if you allow your parents, they can also comment. I love when I get information from my daughter's teacher and I want to be able to say something like, thank you so much, good job. I'm glad you had fun, like to see those comments going back and forth. You can edit it here. And if you do edit it, you can send an update if you want. You don't have to necessarily, you can just update it. You can duplicate it here, like what Ricardo had said. So you can use it over and over. You don't have to start from scratch. You can delete it. You can add someone to work on it with you. You can print it, get a link. Your comments, you have some options here. You could disable them. You can make them private. Maybe you want comments, but only to come to you. And you can add more things here. So you can add forms, signups, you could download file, lots of other options here. And I think I'm just going to scroll to make sure I didn't miss anything. So here's a place to comment down here. Ricardo, did I miss anything here?
No, I think you got it all.
That was pretty fast. All right. So that is pretty much the basics of creating your own post.
Okay. I think you have to stop sharing before I can share.
Yes, I do. Here you go.
So let me go ahead and share my screen. So I know Teresa was working on a newsletter that looks a little bit nicer than the one she just did, right?
Hey.
Make sure that I show it to you. But this is just incredible. Notice that I have the option to just go to Espanol. If I was a parent and this is the language that I pick, I can click there and look at what happens. It's going to take a second, but it should automatically change everything into Spanish for me and be able to read it in Spanish. Obviously, she didn't type some stuff in here, but here it goes. So I can actually see what she said in that language. Okay, I'm going to switch back. And what she said, that two-way communication, right? I can come in here and I can appreciate that because I read it maybe, or maybe I have a question. I can come here and comment, okay? And automatically we have that two-way communication between parents and teacher right there, okay? So we're going to move on. So that was new posts. If I come to new posts and I come to the little drop-down arrow, I also have the ability to create new polls, okay? And I use this one a lot as a high school teacher. I do a Europe trip every spring break, and I like to ask the parents and the students sometimes, what do you think we should do, right? So again, I will select who I want to send it to. And I will just create my question over here. And we're planning our Europe trip. And, what do you guys think we should pick? And I won't, because of the time, I won't create it right now, but I want you to see what it looks like. So if I was to spend time creating it in here, and I went to my class where I put it, just so you see it. Okay, I will have my Euro trip right? This is my poll that I created, right? As we start planning our annual trip, this is what I want some feedback from you. And the parents would just come in here and just vote and give me an idea of what they're thinking. So this is something that I've used before when it comes to planning my Europe trip with my students. So just a great tool.
Do you need chaperone?
to come in here and use new poll. But honestly, what sold me with ParentSquare and such amazing features is the ability to do appointment signups, especially when I talk about teacher-parent conferences, okay? So I can come in here and I can click on it, okay? And I can say that my parent conferences are gonna take place, and I'll just go to next week. So I'll put that one, and I'll put the Tuesday, and also maybe Wednesday. I'm gonna have my teacher-parent conference, okay? And I can say that I'm gonna start at 12:30, and they're gonna end at 4, and I'm not gonna change times right now. Okay. And if I wanted to have a break, maybe a 20-minute break or 30-minute break, or maybe a lunch break, if this was longer, I could add that in there if I wanted to. Okay. My appointment is going to be 20 minutes. Okay. But I do want to have like a 5-minute break in between. So I can put that in there too. Okay. Again, a little bit different from the recess when I want to set maybe a lunch break or whatever, that 5-minute break, right? And I can, as a teacher, I can hide the names of users who sign up, so only I can see them, right? And I do want to limit to 1 appointment per user for this particular purpose, right? It's the teacher-parent conferences. So very easy. You notice that it took me less than a minute to create, and I can go ahead and go next, okay? And once I do that, it takes me to this screen, and I can say, you know what, actually on Tuesday, I can't start at 12:30, so I can just manually delete some of them, okay? And I'm gonna start at 1:20 that day, okay? And this looks fine. I'm okay with that, okay? So everything looks good right here. So I'm going to go next, okay? And now I have the opportunity to assign it to whichever class I'm going to set this up for, right? And I can do that, and I can set it up there. And I can actually, this is what I love. I can actually add a description, and I don't have time to do this today, but I do want to show you what it looks like, okay? So I created this before, so you see it. Let me go to it. So notice that appointment signups that I did, okay? That's the new one that I was working on. Let me go back. That wasn't the one that I wanted to show you. I think it preview it. Let me go back. Sorry about that. So here it goes. So let's meet and talk about your students. So notice that what I did is that it lets me on the description, I can add a picture in there. And again, as we talk about creating relationships, I was able to just simply, with some of the tools that Teresa demo a little while ago, add a video. And it was a video of me explaining to my parents how you're going to use this to sign up. Okay, so I explained it in English, I explained it in Spanish, and I went over how they're going to do this. Okay, so now everything is set up for my parents, and they can come in here and sign up if they wanted to. So it's kind of a nice way of doing it. Okay, so it's just great to have it. So if I went to post this now, and I'm just going to post it just so you can see it. Oh, I don't think I put people it was going to. So let me go in here. Let me go ahead and post it. Okay. Okay, post now. And what I love in here too is that as a teacher, we discovered that a lot of times, maybe some of our parents weren't very tech savvy, and they will contact me and say, well, I don't know how to sign up. Notice that as a teacher, I can come in here and say, okay, you know what time do you want to sign up? And they'll tell me maybe at 2:35. I can come in here, and without the parents doing anything, I can come and say, you know what, I'll add you in here. I can go in here and I can look for the student, right? Or the parent if I knew the name, right? So if I go in here and I look for Tanner, right? And I can just go ahead and find that parent and be able to add them and be able to do the sign up for them if they needed that kind of support. So just a great tool to have to be able to do parent teacher conference right from ParentSquare. Just such a great tool.
So amazing, because our teachers were scrounging around using so many different tools to sign up for conferences and didn't realize it was in here.
Some of them were paying for some stuff, right? That they were actually using on their own. So this just made it so much easier for us. I keep saying favorite tools, but this is probably my favorite tool. You know, I talk about the idea of positive messages, right? And creating meaningful connections. So in here under post, I have something called messages. Okay, and I'm going to click on there, okay? But what I want you to see is that I'm actually going to switch this a little so you can actually see my phone next to it. Hopefully I can bring my phone in. Give me a second. So you can see how this works, okay? So I want to bring my phone in right now. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can connect it. So let me add it. It's going to take me a second to add my phone.
Ricardo has so much technology going on right now. So thank you for your patience. But as he does that, you know, He's going to show us right now. He's going to demonstrate communication back and forth, because it's so important to not only be able to communicate to our parents, but that they're able to communicate back to us. And we always say that two-way communication over and over. It's so important.
So you'll notice that. Thank you, Teresa. So on the right side, I am the teacher, and I want you to see that on the phone, I'm actually the parent in here, okay? And that parent has decided that they want to see my messages in Spanish, okay? So I can come in here and I can say, you know what? I want to write a new message. Okay, and I'm going to send it to the parent of one of my students. So let me find that parent really quick, and I can filter over here, and I can find it right here. So I think I have, here we go. So Marisela is the parent. So I'm just going to pick them right here. And over here, you can select more than one parent if you wanted to send that same message to more of them. But just make that if you do a group message, right, that you have the option to do private message. So a separate message is sent to each particular parent. So when they respond, it's a private message. Or if you wanted to send a group message, then everybody is part of the same group. Okay, I'm just sending one private message. So it's going to go to Marisela. Okay, so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say, your daughter had an amazing day today. Okay, and I'm going to send it. And what I want you to see is that that parent got that message on the spot. And if I come in here, you're going to see this. This is incredible. Okay, that parent saw that message in the language they picked. Do you see this right here?
Very cool.
Su hija tuvo un día increíble. And that parent can come in here and say, thank you so much, right? If I just wanted to say that. They will write it obviously in Spanish, right?
And that's a question
Spanish.
Someone had earlier, that if they respond in their language.
So they're responding on their language, right? Notice what's going to happen. I'm going to get it on my side. I think it went through right now, right? And I should be able to get it instantly right here when I go to my messages. Okay, notice that it came in.
In English.
And she said in English, right? So think about that two-way communication, right? That parent is using one language, right? And I'm using English in this case, but we're able to communicate on the spot just using ParentSquare, right? So important, so amazing. So this was huge for our parents as they were, trying to communicate with us during pandemic. So we love that particular feature in there. What else do we have in here? Oh, the other one that I wanted to mention, when we talk about messages, okay? Again, Teresa, I'm going to have you make some time for me because I'm going to switch. So now I want to share my iPad because I want you to see that as a teacher, right? I'm in the classroom and I was talking about the ability to send those pictures, right? All of a sudden I see a great moment. One of my students is doing something really good, right? And I want to share that with my parents, right? I can come in there and then just give me a second. I want to bring my iPad in right now, if I can.
Okay, so I'm going to steal his thunder a little bit because he's going to share his iPad, but from the teacher's point of view, and show you how easy it is to just grab your iPad or whatever device you're using and take a picture on the spot in the classroom.
So here's my iPad, right? And then I'm walking around and I see, Marisela, Miss Recinos' daughter doing a great job. I can go to ParentSquare as a teacher. I can go to messages. Okay, I can look for that parent, right? And I can come in here and I can just go over here and click on attachment. And I have the ability to just take a photo or video. Okay, it's going to ask me to open my camera. And let's say that the student was right there, right? I could just come and just take a picture, right? And say, use that photo. And then just write a message here. Today, I'm just going to write today, right? Again, remember that parent's going to get it in Spanish, right? And send. And now that parent gets to see what's going on with that student during our day, what they're doing in our classroom. So just a great tool to have.
So
and we think that is pretty amazing. That was so fast, right? That we think that's pretty amazing. And it's just such a great tool to have the ability to just send those pictures and share what's going on in the classroom, okay? Something, again, I keep saying amazing, right? This is huge for our teachers, okay? So Teresa talked about calendar. And she talked about the ability to add a new event in here, right? So some of our teachers were adding homework, due Friday, or we have a test this day, and so on and so on. Notice my calendar in here, okay? This was done actually inside of my LMS because ParentSquare allows you to actually come in here and go to a new event and click on the drop-down arrow, and I can link an ICS calendar, okay? So if I come in here and I click on that, okay? It's going to allow me, it's going to allow me to pick a calendar. It could be a Google Calendar from Google Classroom. It could be a Canvas calendar. It could be something
Outlook.
from Outlook, anything, right? So all I did again is I went to calendar, okay? Instead of going to new event, I went to the little drop-down arrow and I said that I wanted to link an ICS calendar, Okay, so it's going to ask me for what class I want to do this. I want to do it for this particular class right here. Okay, and all I did is for us, we use Canvas as our LMS. Okay, I can go to calendar. Okay,
This
and
is so
here,
cool.
when I go to calendar, I can come to the bottom and say, you know what, I want a calendar feed. And I'm just going to copy that calendar feed.
And so now parents through ParentSquare can see what's due and what's
And I
coming
come
up
in
without
here
going
and put it
somewhere else.
here. And now my parents get to see everything that is due inside of my LMS, any homework, any assignment, and so on and so on.
All in
And
one place.
all in one place. And if I have a second, I can show you what that looks like from the parent point of view. But we just think this saves our teachers so much time, the ability to just come in there and be able to put that in there. So here we go. So I go in there and I go to my ParentSquare again. Let me go ahead and go there. 1 second. Okay. And I'll go to events and I'll probably find that class that I'm actually looking for. So in here, I will have to go to that class actually, okay? And then let me go to that class. Okay, was it my Spanish block? There it goes, right?
Yes.
And notice that over here, I can come now and as a parent, I can see all of those homeworks, all of those tests, all of that stuff that is going on inside of that classroom. So we think that's such a great tool. Transparency, right? And consistency too, right? Just such a great tool to have. And finally, another tool that our teachers have been able to use and we've been able to use is actually our groups. Just such a great tool to have groups right here.
Oh, there you
So
go.
Teresa was actually doing this. She was actually, I think she created a group. So not everybody got the message that she was doing. But we had a teacher that wanted to send that field trip form only to her English language learner students. So she came in here and she went and picked a new group. And you have a couple of options. You can do a new static group where you can just add the names manually if you want to. Okay. You can do an auto update group that basically it's based on conditions that are met. So basically, if you have it set up with your SIS, right, you can actually pick those English language learners maybe, and that will just put them in that group. Or community groups. We've seen some of our schools use it for fundraising and so on to be able to create those groups. But just the ability to create groups, if this could be done maybe for a classroom project, right? And put the kids in groups and give them information and so on, let the parents know what's going on. So just another great tool to have. So these were just some of the ways that our teachers and we have been able to maximize the use of ParentSquare at our district. Teresa, is there anything that I miss?
There's so much more we want to go more in depth with, but I know for the sake of time, we didn't get to, but we did show you our favorites. We said that about 1 million times in this training, but we are welcome to any questions. And of course, our friends from ParentSquare who know even more than us will continue to answer just as they have in the chat. So thank you for giving us this chance to share what we love today. So thank you. We're open to any questions.
Thank you so much, both Ricardo and Teresa. This was just amazing. And I hope that we're getting some great feedback here from some of the teachers. One question was wondering if you could share the survey that you spoke about in the beginning that was sent out to your parents and your staff for anyone who's interested in what the questions were on that survey.
Laura, I can definitely get that to you. I don't have it available with me, but I can get that to you if you want me to. Yes.
And anyone interested, they can just an email me.
They can reach out to us, or they can reach out to us. We'll put our emails too, and we'll be happy to help with that.
Perfect.
Definitely.
I went to the Padlet and I was looking for some questions. How do you send voice messages? Maybe Bill can help us with that one. I've never used is there a voice feature?
Yes, there is. Thanks for the great question there. The voice feature is not for it's not in a teacher capability. So but there are ways to turn it on for teachers. So by default, that's more of an admin at the district and school level to send out, like if there was a lockdown or if we needed to send a reminder about a late start day, then the voice would be included in that. It's a feature called alerts and notices. However, there is the ability to basically promote a teacher to kind of admin rights and be able to send those smart alerts and notices. So it's not in there by default, but it is something that you can turn on at your school.
Thank you, Bill. And I think along with that, what is the difference between an alert, a post, and a message? So a post will be something that you send to your whole class, so maybe a group of classes, I guess. An alert will be something from the district level. Is that correct, Bill? And I think a message will be when I'm communicating maybe with a group of parents and maybe with that just one parent that I was showing you how to go back and forth with.
Correct. Yeah. So those would be all text-based messages right now. And the alert would come more from like a district or school admin level. Correct.
Yeah. I saw someone asking to make ParentSquare available for Clever. I don't have a control with that, but I'm sure Bill can take that back.
Yeah, so we do have a Clever integration. However, with especially with Aeries clients, the integration is better through Aeries for the data. So so that is that's the preferred method, because Clever doesn't always give us all the data that we need as far as multiple parent contact information, things like that.
I wonder if that question was more for a single sign-on, like we set it up with ClassLink. I'm not sure. No.
So yeah, I know we do have Clever integration. I believe you can set it up through the single sign-on through Clever. That's something I would recommend reaching out to our support team though, to get details on. I'm not sure how to do that exactly.
People love the calendar. Any other questions, Teresa, that I'm missing?
I'm trying to see. A great one that someone brought up is, can we tell if they've opened it? And yeah, definitely they can. On-demand reporting, which is amazing to be able to see that data, which you would be limited to if you're using so many different tools, right? So definitely, yes. Thank you for answering that.
The question about the calendar, yes, we've actually have a high school that is actually using ParentSquare with their teachers for athletics, actually. And we love that feature. Wilson High School is actually using that. Yeah.
Bill, you can answer a question about from Terry Foster about the on-demand sync.
Yeah, I just I can do it for the group, but I just did answer in the chat there, Terry. The on-demand sync feature has been released. It may need to be enabled in your permissions, and we can help you with that if you want to reach out to support. But that feature was released, so you can not only is they're the nightly sync, but that you can kick off your own on-demand sync.
And someone asked, do teachers at the school sites have permission to make groups? And I think that would be an admin setting. Is that correct?
So yes, correct. You can teachers can make groups. It is an admin setting. There's two different ways to make groups. You can make a group in ParentSquare, but there's also if you create what's called an Aeries student group, you can bring those groups into ParentSquare as well. So kind of two different ways to do that. But that is a setting that you can enable for teachers where they can create groups within the school or within just their class subsets.
Absolutely. And as we learn more and more about ParentSquare, there are some things that were not turned on for us, but the admin didn't know. So once we learned about it and we saw how useful it was, they simply just turned it on once they saw the use for it as well. Let's see.
We have someone wondering if you could show us how to check whether parents have read post alerts or messages.
I was using a sandbox, so I'm not sure if I can do that. I just because I didn't want to compromise our data.
Actually, if you go in, if you want to share your screen, Ricardo, I can point you where to find those reports of.
Sure. Let me go in there right now. Let me go back. Okay, 1 second. So thank you, Bill.
No problem at all. So yeah, you'll notice if you were the message author, and let's look at this one. Let's meet and talk about your student that Ricardo posted a little bit earlier. If you scroll down towards the bottom of the post, there's a little eyeball icon. Now, right now it says no notifications. Let's go down. Let me see if we can find one that has.
My school. Okay, so that should be my school. So I'm just going to make sure that I wasn't in a class. So let's look for one.
Yeah, it may not be in this sandbox. If you click on there where that eyeball icon is, there will normally be. This is a sandbox, so I believe that it's got a different level of access. But there normally you would see an eyeball there, and it would say 117 people notified. And then if you clicked on it, you could see whether they opened it via email, whether the text message was delivered, or whether they viewed it in the mobile app. So,
and that is where our teachers find it. Yes, the little eye right here. But I figured I couldn't show it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yes. So Claudia, I think Claudia's from our district. Yes. So for high school, our teachers are actually able to message students through ParentSquare. It's been great, especially for AP classes and IB classes at Wilson. They use it a lot. So great question.
Yes, great question. And typically for unified school districts, they will allow the high school students to message teachers, but it may not be enabled at the elementary school typically.
I do want to.
Robert, yeah, Robert asked if we'll get a copy of this webinar, and yes, Robert, there will be a recording sent automatically after the fact. If you don't see that for any reason, please do reach out. We're more than happy to get you a link to that.
Thank you, Bill.
And someone asked, just to clarify, can we see parents' names to determine who opened the message?
Correct,
Yes.
Sandeep. You would be able to see that as the teacher or as a message author, but parents would not be able to see each other's messages. Correct.
Correct.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more.
Thanks,
That needs to be on a t-shirt or a hat. Data is everything.
You're speaking our love language right now.
Yep.
Okay, well, wonderful. I will leave my email once again in the chat. If anyone has further questions, absolutely feel free to reach out to me, whether you're a current customer or not. And I would love to talk to you if you are not as well. But I wanted to just thank our panelists so much for sharing all of their knowledge. I hope that all of you teachers out there especially were able to bring some great takeaways home, or back to the classroom from this webinar. And we'll be doing a new webinar next season. So please watch your email inboxes for those invitations. So thank you so much again, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.